Hi, everyone. Welcome to the GameGravy Rewind podcast. This is episode 70. And you know what? We have someone new on to this week. We have Dante, as usual, but we also have Eddie with us.
Hi, I'm new. I'm Eddie.
It's not new, but it's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah. But yeah, we're glad he's back for this episode. And you know what? This week's episode is well, we've had a lot of grievances, and I know that's normally something you do at the end of the year in December, because it's
but there were just so many.
There's so many of them at the beginning of the year. We're going to do an Airing of the Grievances podcast in, what is it, February? Yeah, February. So, yeah, we're going to try to not be too negative, but there's a lot of stuff going on. So, and you know what? We know you're going to feel our pain.
Well,
because
this
I'm
is
sure you're
the
thinking
reason
the
we
same
had
thing.
Eddie on here is because he's such a curmudgeon. It's the perfect episode to have him back.
Yeah, I hate stuff and things.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people in the gaming community like that, right? So maybe, they'll be cheering right now, listening to it all.
Sure.
So, and maybe not. Maybe we'll strike more controversy, because God knows I can't go on the friggin' Facebook without causing some sort of trouble. Anywho. All right, where do you want to start, Dante?
Okay, so number one on my list is Mighty Number 9.
Where do we want to even start with that one? It's garbage.
I'll start. Once I stop eye rolling.
Right.
No, that thing was just a disaster from the get-go. I mean, they had PR disasters. They had, there was
a Kickstarter disaster, wasn't it? Like, didn't they fund all the money and then didn't deliver on time? Like, that was the main thing.
Well, they kept delaying, which is fine if you're delivering a better product, but you're not. You're delivering a PS2 title.
Yeah.
The graphics were terrible. It really just, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. And plus. I mean, when you have a game like that, it's you're supposed to bank on nostalgia and what came before, and then they had a bunch of. I'm actually struggling to remember what all that PR crap was about. They had some kind of fallout with their community manager because she was some kind of hyper feminist or something and wanted to make everyone in the game female, and then there was a big flame war on the message boards for that.
Well,
for their
they're also
Kickstarter.
taking a lot of the money from the Kickstarter and all the other places that they're getting money from and trying to develop a TV show on top of the video game. Instead of improving the game, they're trying to make other assets at the same time.
So they were just trying to make a garbage game.
Well, then, and they had a huge issue with Deep Silver, which ended up being their publisher on the title, with a couple of with one of the trailers that they had put out being. Way over the top and all that. So that was a huge issue.
Something about the prom.
They made a joke about an anime fan taking a girl to prom. I don't remember the exact details, but it was a very uncouth of them to make that.
Isn't that your audience
joke? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
nice. I mean that's nothing to say. That's not even getting to the main issue I have with the game, which is that it was a train wreck.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of bugs and different things that were in it, and people were just not satisfied. They weren't happy. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, the wait was so worth it. It was like, what? We waited for this? This isn't... I'm over this. I feel like that's how a lot of people felt.
I got lucky. I almost gave that thing money.
Yeah, I didn't. I've seen other people give it money. It feeds on other people. But I don't...
They received nothing.
They received nothing from this person.
Let's see, what do we got next?
What else is next?
Yeah, next on my list is Mafia 3.
Oh yeah, the game that was supposed to be amazing because the other Mafia games were great, right?
That was my biggest disappointment of 2016 as far as just games go. That was one of the games I was really looking forward to the most of the entire year, and then the game comes out and it's an unfinished, buggy, clippy mess. And
beautiful skybox though.
And in a world like the world that they had built was empty. I mean, you had this amazing story, you had great characters, you had a great reason to play the game, but the game itself was
shallow.
Shallow, empty shell of a game like that. It wasn't. It wasn't what we had hoped it was going to be, which is a massive letdown for me.
Shallow and pedantic.
I was just thinking that. Yes, shallow and pedantic. Yeah, no, it's a shame when something like that has such great potential and they just, I don't know if they're just trying to accelerate timelines or what, but they just fall super short, and that was a big disappointment to a lot of people. They were really looking forward to that. They really hyped it up with great trailers, and then you get the game and you're
Well, it looked good. I mean, it good characters, good story. It's probably one of those cases of the just, they wanted to try and put too much stuff in the game. Maybe they didn't have that kind of timetable, and they wanted to put as much stuff as they could, and then they had to end up leaving stuff on the floor.
Yeah, all over the floor.
All over the place.
Yeah, like the music was incredible. The soundtrack was great. It was set in an awesome setting. There was just it was a lot to love about that game before it came out, and then unfortunately, it just didn't play the way we wanted it to play. And that was a huge misstep for me. Like I said, I had really been looking forward to playing that game, and it was a mess. And Mafia 2 was great, and I'd hoped that this would be good, and they pooped their pants. So
all over the place.
They dropped the ball. Yeah. All of the balls.
What other software do we got? I know we got more.
My next one is No Man's Sky.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah, the over-promise, under-deliver on that one as well.
What's the big deal about it? That's when it kind of flew under my radar, pun unintended.
I mean, a lot of people were very disappointed. Like, there was like a lot of different promised features and a lot of promised things that you could do within the game that just wasn't there.
So, like a $60 title where they were promising you that you could explore the universe forever.
Yeah, well, the way the algorithm worked, that there's like unlimited amount of things. Like, it generates these worlds and these creatures and inhabitants and different things, and everybody could claim a world if they explored it first and name it and stuff. And
all right, this wasn't made by Peter Molyneux, was it?
No.
Dante knows what I mean.
No, these are the guys. These were the guys from Joe Danger.
Oh, okay.
And
they had good intentions,
which is a cool game. Like it's a fun game. But the marketing of that game, the overpromising of that game. Again, this is a game that overpromised and underdelivered, and I think that's a problem with. And
they made a lot of money doing that.
Yeah, many games of this generation because you push pre-orders and all that, and also there wasn't a lot of reviews of that game before.
No, before they kept the tight lid on it.
Sure.
Well, because they knew.
Well, this game was one of those games that was on E3 after E3 after E3, and just shown so many times. They pushed this really hard.
They had a great engine. I mean, the developer was talking about how things generate and how it works and how there's just so many things to explore. You could go your whole lifetime exploring it, and new things will still keep getting generated and populate. But you never will run into anybody. Like, that was weird too. You'd still see some people if everybody used it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was just some weird things that went on, that people were just not happy with.
Yeah, they've gone in and patched a lot of the game, but we're still not. We're still not at the point where Sony, to get to the point where the trailers had gotten to, where the marketing had gotten to. Yeah, and that's something that became an issue. I mean, like the European.
Did they get sued for that or something?
Yeah, the European Commerce Board had looked into the trailers of the game and all that, that they were, basically lying to consumers. So that was an issue. But that's something that's unfortunately happens on occasion. But
yeah, well, it happens when indie developers are pushed into the limelight and expected to perform like a AAA publisher.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're still pushing what all this stuff. You're still going the Fable route. You're promising 47 features that you're really only going to introduce about 13 of them. And after a week of it being out, someone already discovers the middle of the galaxy or whatever the hell they called it, and There's really, like, I bet you they're going to try and start releasing like $5 DLC packs that they're going to try they're going to try and fund further development after they didn't finish developing the game.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. That's another thing on the topic later, but that's what people are doing.
Yeah,
they're just not finishing their games and using DLCs as crowdfunding.
We're looking at you, Capcom.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice segue.
Yeah.
So next is Street Fighter V, lacking
anything.
It's a joke. I'm
lacking all the things.
I'm a huge fan of the franchise, but it just they screwed the pooch on that game.
They wanted something playable for tournament level. They wanted it. They needed it out immediately for Evo or whatever the hell was going on, and they didn't have anything done. They didn't have anything done. They didn't have any of the characters.
But you could buy them for $5 a piece, right?
Oh, for crying out loud!
Yeah, the lack of arcade. Of single player mode and some characters not being done, some balancing issues. There was a lot of issues going on with that game at launch.
Only $59.99, guys.
Yeah. So I mean, you were paying, at launch of that game, you were paying $60 and expected to shell out that kind of money.
How much was the season pass?
Probably another $50, right?
No, if I remember correctly, they didn't have a season pass in the beginning, but you still had to wait for content to come out, and now they have it like a year two season pass with kind
of like Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I think it's I think one of them is like Evil Ryu or whatever is the next. Evil Ken is the next. Next
Dark Ryu. Yeah.
But but that was that kind of that I was very again looking forward to that game, and it just
me too. It just kind of shattered my dreams and expectations of it after that all happened, and it was just like, man. Especially after playing it at E3, I was really excited.
Yeah.
And then, no.
But you didn't know that when you played it, you played the whole game.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, it's a cool demo. Like, I didn't realize that was the full release.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything they had ready to go.
To be fair, that game is gorgeous.
Well, yeah,
and it's awesome now. Now.
But how much do you have to pay for it to be the full real game?
Yeah,
is it $60 or is it like $80?
Yeah, I'm sure you can get it for relatively cheap now and enjoy the hell out of it. But
well, that's good. I mean, if when it goes on sale, I'll buy it because I'm sick of that trend of games turning out to be here's a $59.99 game, but in order to actually enjoy it and get all the stuff that you were looking forward to, you got to spend $85, maybe $90.
Yeah, you need all the DLC, bro. Get it.
Yeah.
No, it's.
And I bought the DLC for Battlefront after the game was like $5 or $10 or whatever online. Because then I could just buy the DLC and pay the full price for the game and get everything. Like, what was it? I forget what it was called. The full version.
Oh, you bought the ultimate version.
The ultimate
with
version.
with the season pass stuff on it.
That's the way I'll buy games with DLCs. Release an ultimate version with everything, and then I'll pay for that game.
Sure. Well, The Witcher has that now with all the DLC on there and everything. If any game deserves it, it's that game.
But if you do that at the beginning, it costs way more, and then like that Star Wars games, the Ultimate Edition, wound up costing like I think $55 even on sale.
I mean, save for The Witcher, like I know Dante, for example, is very very good about waiting for Game of the Year editions. He just says screw it. I'll wait till it's Game of the Year.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Because that's what they do.
I'm doing that with Injustice. As much as I really want to play that, I'm waiting for that for Injustice 2. I won't. There's 8 new characters that are going to be DLC. I'm not doing that. I'll wait. It's fine.
But Dante, you could pay $100 for the game and get everything.
So that gets into
literally. I mean, you could.
There you go. So that gets into how much games should cost and how much you're willing to pay for games. And we are living in an era where games are cheaper than they should be based on inflation.
Well, yeah, development budgets are constantly going through the roof for some of these high profile titles.
Sure, based on inflation, based on the amount of people that are working on these games, based on the graphic fidelity that you're playing with. Like there's games are cheaper than they should be. To be honest with you, like I
You think so? I don't know.
I mean, if they were going to charge us $80 and give you the whole version and not have to charge for DLC, like I mean, there's some games that are worth that and some games that aren't.
So you're telling me I could go buy a movie that costs multi-million-dollars to make, and I could buy that movie for like $25-$30, but a game that didn't cost as much to make as that multi-million-dollar movie, I'm paying like double, triple that amount.
Well, it's a 2-hour movie versus a 12-hour game.
Oh,
I'm like not.
You're talking about budgets and paying the
yeah,
development
I know, I get that. But so, based on what games used to cost, based on what they cost now, and then you're having to supplement that with downloadable content and
sure.
Well, they used to have like the online passes for games back on the PS3 and 360 era, and that was kind of murdered relatively quickly because it was a terrible decision.
Yeah,
but like that's where we're at.
I mean, we already have that
Super
kind of
Nintendo
gate.
cartridges, like high yield ones, used to be $70. I'm pretty sure Chrono Trigger, when it came out in '95, was $70.
Well, like with inflation and everything, yeah. Back then, if the game was $45 or $50, it felt like paying $100.
Yeah, it did.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And my parents would never buy them for me.
Right, same here.
Damn it, Mom, I need this.
Anywho,
next on the hit list is Star Fox.
The chicken, Robo Chicken.
The chicken. Let's make it about the chicken.
I pissed a lot of people off after E3 with that one too, because I went and I was super excited for it. The nostalgia factor was there. I stood in line for God knows how long to play that game, and it was my turn. I was like, this sucks.
It's Star Fox 64 DLC with new chicken mode.
Yeah, like the graphics are a little bit more crisp, but the controls were just as crappy. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I was really disappointed. And that made a lot of people mad who are hardcore fans, because they're like, the game was amazing. You're just stupid.
I'm pretty sure right after it came out is when I made the decision to get rid of my Wii U. I'm like, you know what?
Nah, you were right. I believe you're right, yeah.
I'm done.
I remember that.
I was like, nope.
I was like, well, that's another game I can check off the list of I'm not buying.
Yeah.
Save some money. Cool.
Terrible.
I'm glad I didn't buy it to find that out.
Yeah, we had been waiting. That's another game that we had been waiting for a long time. There hadn't been a Star Fox of that style in a really, really long time, and that was something that we were all really looking forward to.
Yep.
And, thumbs the brakes. But
it's true.
It controlled poorly.
Nintendo wants you to buy it because it's Star Fox.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, come buy it. We spent a couple weeks making this. Come buy it.
Just make some shirts. I'll buy your shirt. I'm not going to buy the game that's crappy.
Yeah, for it to be delayed multiple times too, and then it's still not being the way.
Yeah,
that was. Just...
I can forgive game delays if you get the game and it's just phenomenal. It's just amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to just put a little bit of polish on an already quality product. Cool. Delay it all you need to.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're dealing with that with Star Fox right now. We're dealing that with South Park right now. We're dealing with that with Horizon about to come out in a couple of weeks. We had to wait on that.
Mm-hmm.
Uncharted was delayed last minute. That turned out great. So
yeah,
I'm willing to wait as long as the game turns out great. But sometimes they're delayed and they suck. Like Mighty Number 9 and Star Fox.
Yeah, pretty much.
Terrible.
So next on the hit list is the Nintendo Classic Launch.
Ooh.
Yeah, the NES, was it NES Classic? What was it officially called? I forget. Like the NES Mini.
It's the NES Classic Edition. Yeah.
Yeah, that was how Eddie would say. How does Eddie say hot garbage?
Yeah. It was a heaping pile of hot garbage.
I mean, it was something like a great idea, super cool.
It's one of those things where Nintendo goes like, "Oh, we didn't know, guys. Sorry."
You're like, they know. Come on.
Know. They all know. And it's like, how hard is it to make a Raspberry Pi with a Nintendo shell? They're claiming like part shortages and stuff. Like that's got to be an incredibly easy. If I can less than legally, don't do it, kids. If I can play emulators on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
There's it's an incredibly easy thing to do. It's an incredibly easy thing to do, to manufacture and make, and you know what the demand is. You know what the demand is because you're going on eBay and people are actually paying $150, and up
to $500 around Christmas time. People were getting away with charging a lot of money for those things.
And what I don't understand is why Nintendo wouldn't want to to drive that stuff down and put more units out because they're not seeing any of that $500.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like that was my main gripe too. It's like, Nintendo, if you want money for this stuff, then and not want to see your,
Well, Mike, you're American. Nintendo doesn't care about you.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well,
and I love how their website says only $59.99 MSRP.
I mean, like one of my major issues with the launch of this thing was that they had to have known how big it was going to be, because you could not go on any video game website that covers multiple consoles or multiple companies, or listen to a podcast, or even listen to us. Like not that you should, but I mean, like anybody that that loves video games, that grew up in that era, was excited about this thing, and talking about the lineup that was on it, talking about the games that they wish were on it, talking about how they couldn't wait to play it, that they couldn't wait to play it with their kids, their younger brothers. They're like introducing new generations of people to those games, because a lot of them are classics, not good old games, but actual classics, like
there's about
master classes in gameplay. Like a lot of these games were absolutely worth the price of admission, and why are we not able to buy them? It just it makes no sense, and creating an artificial demand for it made no sense.
Yeah, I agree, and not that I recommend doing this, obviously, since it's not legal, but technically there are Raspberry Pi cases that look like NESs, and technically you can get a Raspberry Pi and put the whole system on there anyways with all the ROMs and games.
Oh, we're totally getting shut down for that.
Right?
But we don't condone it, but when an industry leaves you no other choice.
I don't know where you would find that stuff, obviously, and how you would actually put it all together, obviously. And I don't recommend doing it.
Obviously.
But Nintendo should get their stuff together and put more in stock. People say they're confirming that there's going to be a very limited stock. It was confirmed by Nintendo that they're pushing that out. And that was, what's today, the 19th? It was actually today that they announced that stuff, or yesterday, or Friday. And people are starting to just publish that today. But yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's just like the Amiibo thing. They're creating, they create such a excitement about a bunch of, dumb little figures that have very limited in-game functionality. They only work with certain games, and people are just buying them because they're collectibles.
Yeah.
People are leaving them unopened, and Nintendo knows the demand for these things. And it's almost as if they have almost like a card game. Like, you have a common, uncommon, and rare setup. Like, you can only find some of the Fire Emblem ones, but you can always find Luigi and Mega Man. It's just it's a very, very strange economy they've built on them, and they don't change it. They discontinue them. It boggles the mind to me that they just don't want to make money.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Nintendo, if it's only $59.99 on your webpage, then why is Amazon and all those other places selling it for $155 and more?
Yeah,
put them in the stores. Anywho, we're running low on time, so let's move to the next topic, right?
To switch companies, because we're going to get back to Nintendo with the Switch, but to switch it up a little bit here.
Hold on, Dante. Hold on. There you go.
Yeah, nicely done.
Nice.
Nicely done. So Microsoft's lack of first-party support for their own console is a big thing for me. I like the two of you own all systems, own all three current ones anyway. And I buy them mostly so I can play first-party titles as well, because I enjoy the first-party titles from all three companies. And Microsoft has done to be generous, a poor job of cultivating their first-party games as so far this generation. And
they spent really a boatload of cash to get Tomb Raider first, but that's over now.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love Tomb Raider, and that was one of the best games I played in 2015. I thought that game was incredible. Still playing it actually to this day. I'm still playing the DLC and stuff for it. It's really good. It's really well made. But what's the games coming on the horizon for them are, because Scalebound's now killed.
Yeah.
So what they have available, like coming out now, is Crackdown, which we still don't know for sure when it's coming out. Sea of Thieves, again, don't know for sure when that's coming out, and State of Decay. And another 2. Forza. Yeah, 2, sorry. State of Decay 2, and then another Forza.
Mm-hmm.
But what... And Halo Wars is coming. Halo Wars 2 is coming out relatively soon, or already out.
But what's supposed to excite us? By the time you read this, what are those Microsoft exclusives that are supposed to just excite us?
Yeah, I mean, there's a very severe lack of games. I mean, Gears of War, as good as the reviews were, didn't set the sales world on fire. They didn't sell a ton of that game, but it got good reviews.
It's fun. I've been starting to play it a little bit, but it came with my system.
Sure, but
so
but you can only get by so far on Gears and Halo.
Yeah,
right.
They haven't even announced any integration of VR yet. Even though they partnered with Oculus and they give you an Xbox One.
Well, that's for another podcast. But I'm pretty sure Oculus is getting blocked.
Oh yeah,
they lost that lawsuit. But yeah, for me, my Xbox One is because I have a 5 terabyte drive hooked up to it because they supported external drives first. That's just my multi-plat console because I have room on it. I had a big like digital 360 library.
Yep, me too.
So that's just my multi-plat machine. That's where I have all my storage on. That's where I just get if it's on both, and PlayStation has great exclusives.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I honestly use my Xbox One for a media console. What they actually intended it to be, like back a couple of E3s ago, how they were talking about it. I got the Xbox One S. I play my 4K movies in there. I watch my online videos on Hulu and Netflix on it. It's hooked up to my surround sound.
Yeah,
it's pretty much what I use it for. Maybe I'll play a game once in a while on with a friend that only has Xbox or something. But for the most part, I use my PlayStation 4, like you said, Eddie.
Yeah.
They have some great titles on there.
I mean, I play pretty evenly between PS4 and Xbox One right now, mainly because I have a good balance of games on each console.
Mm-hmm.
But
they do online really well. I think they do their online better than PlayStation because of the games for gold. They just give you some amazing, great games.
Yeah, the backwards compatibility is a great feature that they have. It's not needed, but it's a great feature that they've added over time.
Mm-hmm.
But to get back to the actual meat and potatoes of this, we just saw Sony release Gravity Rush 2, which came out to great reviews. They've got Horizon coming out in a couple of weeks, and they have an Uncharted set of game, Uncharted series still continuing with Chloe and Nadine, and they continue to have these exclusives like Neo and Bloodborne and Ratchet and all that. Like that, they just have a better first party lineup.
It's important. You can tell it's much more important for them to build a first and third party stable of titles you can only get on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like that Insomniac getting Spider-Man. Getting Spider-Man, like that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
I'm all aflutter.
So I like that Microsoft has a lot of work to do, and I think they know that because I think they know that because they've lost this generation for total sales. They're never going to get back the 20 some odd million units that they're down by. But I think they're doing a better job now after Scalebound was clipped in the back of the head to start moving forward a little more. But we'll see. They have to get better at this.
Yeah, I agree. You want to switch it up to PSVR?
Yeah, so the PSVR launch and in post-launch, you've seen them more in the wild than I have.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them at all.
I have not seen one in the wild still.
Really? Oh, I saw one the other day at Best Buy. I could have bought it with all the controllers and cameras and everything if I wanted to.
Yeah, no, it's great. I still haven't seen them. I'm not saying they're not there. They're not there. I'm just saying my personal experience. I haven't seen them.
Chris even bought one.
Great, and their sales numbers, like they haven't released them, but they had to lower their expectations.
Like 5.
Yeah, they had to lower their expectations because of a lack of production, and they said that. They said their production was lower than what they wanted it to be, and And like Microsoft with their first-party stuff, Sony's doing a better job of hopefully ramping up production with their VR, because it's incredible.
I think it'll sell. I mean, production will catch up, and I'm sure it'll sell better when you have more. For example, like I've seen Resident Evil 7 being played in VR, and it does look awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But that's right now that's your only AAA experience. That's the only
besides Battlefront, but that's one.
That's one mission.
I know, but I'm just saying.
So I mean, like when you actually start having more full AAA dedicated experiences on that platform, you'll see a move. I mean, and plus by then they'll have made enough to where it won't be impossible to find.
Mm-hmm. Like if Destiny 2 is on the PSVR, just plug me in the Matrix and put me on life support. I'll be fine.
Yes. Insert the feeding tube.
Right.
I'll be back by Christmas.
Is your brother gonna play the role of Cartman's mom?
Pretty much, yeah.
World of Warcraft episode. There you go.
Yeah.
So next is quality control for PSN and Xbox Live titles.
Quality control, like what? How so?
Like there's so many games that are released on PSN and Xbox Live now, and there's no quality cultivation of these games.
Oh,
they're like there's a sea of them, and you have to fight to try to find anything worth buying on these games. Like it takes it takes a lot of research actually to find anything worth a damn.
Yeah, no, I mean it's becoming like a mobile market almost. Like, and I applaud them for opening up their market to indie developers so that they can get their software on there. But at the same time, you're right, it's flooded it with garbage at the same time.
There was a point in Xbox Live and for Xbox Live Arcade and for PSN that you would have never seen a game like Life of Black Tiger released. It just would have never happened. And now you see a lot of these games are released and you have no idea who the hell's buying them, who they're for, what they were about. I had never heard of most of these games until they're on the PlayStation blog of the releases that week. I'm like, who's buying this?
Don't you Goat Simulator?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want it to turn into a mobile market like Eddie said, and I don't want it to turn into Steam where there's just this deluge of garbage being dumped onto the systems.
Yeah, there are some good games on Steam, but you do have to find them really.
Yeah, they're like I said, they're few and far between. It's turning into the Google Play Store where just anybody can put up anything.
Yeah,
and
doesn't work.
Yeah, and it's like it's all the much more digging we have to do to find anything good.
Yeah, so fix that, PSN and Xbox Live, and also Steam. Fix it.
Fix it now.
Now.
Even just have somebody that, have like a group of people to just cultivate games. Like, these are our staff picks of the week. These are our staff picks of the month. Like, even if you want to highlight indie titles and lower visibility titles like that, do it. So you don't have this predatory system. Just people just buying games they have no idea.
Yeah, or a gem gets buried.
Yeah, exactly. That's more my point. Is to get like Oceanhorn came out on PSN and Xbox. I have no idea any idea how good that game was.
I don't know what you said.
Freaking awesome! Like it's like a Zelda. It's very similar to Zelda, old school Zelda, and it was a mobile game. They turned it on. They retrofitted it to console games, and it's freaking good. Nobody knows that. You know a crap ton about games. You don't know about that game.
No,
it's good.
Sweet. I'll get it.
Anyway, we have two more. Unless you have other ones, Mike.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so Final Fantasy 15. There's two sub parts here. Chapter 13 and the Cup of Noodle side quest. The Cup of Noodle side quest by my boy Gladios was just a.
Who thought that was a good idea?
It was just the worst product placement. Like you're doing a side quest to literally try to find the best add-on ingredient for cup of noodles.
And yeah, Square, I thought you were trying really hard to make this Final Fantasy Versus 13 not a joke.
Right.
Oops.
Come on. And then Chapter 13
Don't ruin anything for the story for me. I stopped playing because my grievance is the patch.
Sure.
I want them to patch the game to fix it. When the patch comes in,
I'm sure you'll be fine. But for me, because I didn't know about a patch coming and I just played through the game, was a 2.5 hour slog that completely obliterated the rhythm and momentum of that game and made me hate it.
Ground to a screeching halt.
It made me hate the game. I hated my time playing the game. Because it probably went from
very smooth gameplay to actually understanding everything to, wait, what's going on now? Why is everything...
I went from very much enjoying the experience of that game, even though it wasn't exactly what I had wanted, I still enjoyed what they gave me, to spending 2.5 hours hate playing that game to get to the end because I was 40 some odd hours into it and I just wanted to finish the effing thing. And if I could swear, I would drop probably 30 to 40 F-bombs on it just because.
Hey man, if I gotta watch my mouth, you do too.
Because. Like
no, I hear you.
They deserve it. Because they deserve it.
Did they say when they're going to come out with that patch?
Soon.
I better be.
Soon means 2026. I don't know. Best of luck.
Yeah. It'll probably come out alongside Kingdom Hearts 3. So, when you're about ready to, cash in your Social Security.
All right, the last one we got to get to is something we've talked about a couple of times, but again, they deserve it. Is the Switch.
Yeah, and it's the controversial topic that people are all heated about.
And I could not possibly care less.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, let's talk about it because it needs to be talked about.
Why it's this, as of today, it is 12 days away from coming out.
Yep.
Why don't we know your exact online infrastructure pricing? Why don't we know your virtual console setup? Why don't we know
more
specifics about this console? People have already put the money down and made the decision on whether they're going to purchase this thing day one, yay or nay. So why do we not have the information on something so basic?
Do you think they just forgot?
Yeah.
People bought it.
Of course they forgot.
They're like, oh, everybody paid for it. Sweet. We don't need to just actually do this thing now. We'll just put it out in the store and they'll just pick it up and buy it and play with it.
All of the other issues aside, because there are still some issues that I have with it, which you've made the decision to buy. I mazel tov. Have a great time. I'm gonna wait. You bought it. You already paid for it. So you're in the I'm buying this thing. I want to play it. For you and people of your ilk, why do we not have the information for you?
I would like that information.
They don't think you need the specs. They know that the system's underpowered as hell. They're basically putting out a PS3 from like midway through its life cycle.
Yeah, it kind of makes me frustrated and mad because I thought there would be like some more treehouses or some more, just Nintendo press coverage of, hey, by the way, here's all the magical things that the Switch is going to do and comes with, and here's some fun specs of what can be run on it. And
you don't need specs. You don't need to know how any of it works. You just need to know that a Mario platformer and Ocarina of Time Part 4 is coming out. That's all you need to know.
Bums me out that there's lack of titles on launch date besides Zelda.
All they need to do is show a Nintendo fan, hey, look, there's a Zelda game. Okay, well, that just secured a $400 purchase. They don't really.
And I love if they had pulled the ultimate FU move and moved it off of the Wii U completely and put it on the Switch, then Switch only, then they would not get my money either. But
no, but they also announced their DLC packages. They were kind enough to tell us that they're going to try to take more of our money before they tell us more about the actual system.
Sure, $20 for a season pass to add a hard mode, a T-shirt, an in-game T-shirt, and a dungeon down the line.
Yep, a couple treasure chests and UI map enhancements. That should be in game.
Sure.
I'd rather spend $400 on a PSVR.
I'm kind of bummed that I didn't do that instead. Zelda sounds like it's going to be amazing.
Zelda will probably be good. I say that hopefully.
To be fair, I cannot wait to play that game.
Same.
Mine is pre-ordered and paid off on the Wii U. I look forward to playing it. I hope it's amazing. I hope it's worth every day that we waited to play it.
Since the 3rd is a Friday, I might take that day off as a personal day and pick it up and just play it all day.
Sure.
I hope your boss doesn't listen to this.
Much like
I hope he does. No, I mean I could obviously just tell him he's cool. So.
much like Microsoft has work to do with their first party, much like Sony has work to do with their VR. Nintendo has a lot of work to do on messaging, and they have a lot of work to do.
It's not messaging, communication, right? Just basic consumer communication.
At some point, you have to get the information out for people to make the decision on whether they want to buy this thing.
No,
or not.
you hurry up and buy because it says Nintendo on it. That's most of their audience is either Japanese or rabid Nintendo fans.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to carry their system. They don't need to give you any information. Hey, this says Nintendo on it, and it's coming out in 12 days. I should buy that.
The lack of virtual console information is staggering.
It's disturbing.
That we don't have an actual full price point for their online services is absurd.
Because in all fairness, it's free until they want to figure out how to charge us.
Sure, in the fall when it's a paid service as opposed to a free beta that they're making you do for a few months.
They're probably going to just figure out if anybody's using it or how many people are using it, and if there's if it works. And they're
Sure, I think
hey,
it's
does
great.
it work?
Yeah, I think it's great that Splatoon comes out in June or July, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's great that people get to play Splatoon and Mario Kart and Bomberman and those games for free for a few months until they want to charge you. That's great. I think it's a really consumer-friendly way to do that, to launch your system, to be fair, to play both sides of this. But why don't we know how much you're going to charge?
Yeah, some people are like saying it's going to be $20 or $25 a year.
Yeah, and that's fine, and that's fine as well. And then we get into the in-system voice chat thing, which is asinine. But
yeah, well, like Dante said, he was voice chatting on his original Xbox in 2003. This is something that's not new. This is something you should not have a problem with incorporating into your system.
No, it shouldn't be this difficult. Not at all.
That's all I got, man. Unless you want to complain about anything else, that's all I got.
No, I mean that's pretty much it.
We're normally
overall,
we're normally pretty positive.
Overall, I'm pretty disappointed with everything.
Like that, we're normally a pretty positive crew on this thing, but James isn't here to help me out with the grievances, so we had to get Squidward on here to do it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I was just looking it up because I was curious. Skype came out in 2003, and you said original Xbox had that same voice chat. It's like
the original Xbox came out in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was voice chatting on a console made in 2001.
Yeah. Yeah. So get it together, Nintendo.
Fix it.
No.
I shouldn't have to have a smartphone tethered to my Nintendo account to talk to my friends while I'm playing a game. I just shouldn't. Sorry, I agree. I shouldn't.
Yeah, or if we have to get like a PlayStation party group and then switch inputs to Nintendo.
Run your PlayStation in the background just so you can talk.
Yeah, just run your PlayStation
nice.
Just so you can have party chat. That's ridiculous, right? I've done that before for other systems and we were playing Mario Kart or something like that. Or Splatoon, like we had our PS4s on party chat, we talked that way because it just didn't work properly.
That's ludicrous,
right? I don't know, ludicrous. Anyways,
I'm done kicking Nintendo in the teeth. I hope they do well. I hope the system does well. I hope so.
Yeah, I'm really excited for March 3rd. I want to pick up my system and play it. You guys are more than welcome to come over and check it out in person.
I do want them to do well. They have tremendous franchises that, if given the proper care and attention, could be monumental, but they don't really seem to be putting in the effort. So turn it around. Turn it around, and I'll be happy to buy a Switch.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me on this podcast, and thanks for everyone that's listening, and we will see you again next week. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Welcome back, Eddie. Glad you could be such a downer today.
I'm leaving.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.